hopefully that actually worked. I don't know what really happened. Like, OBS is never just like I've lost connection and like stopped streaming during a stream before, but I've never just straight up like OBS has crashed on me. So I guess I'll just take that it was now and not during the PB. That'd be one of the most unlucky ways to lose a run. Alright, I think we can go on to the commentary now. With the volume a little bit. The beginning, like I said before, it's just matching through text boxes. I time most of these, but I think I'm a little bit late on some of them. Name self and rival A. Text printing takes text only prints at a rate of one letter per frame. So if you named yourself red, you'd lose like at least 30 seconds over the course of a run in 2 frame increments. And I've said it before, but I'll say it again. The main difference between these games, and I'm sort of feeling this from Worcester, is that in Red Blue, you get a choice between 3 good Pokemon, and in Yellow, you don't get a choice, nor do you get a good Pokemon. And that's why we don't use Pikachu. Honestly, I feel like a Pikachu run wouldn't be that bad except for like a few fights. But it's just more matching text boxes here. Oak shows us how to YOLO ball, which will be useful later. But the intro in Yellow is annoyingly long. So I used to only know strats for if you win this fight, but after asking around within the community for a little bit, it's actually very, very simple. Like, only 4 things change if you lose this fight. It's actually slightly faster at best, but on average it's slower. But it's good to be prepared, because otherwise I'd be giving away like a third of my runs, because this fight's really tough to win sometimes. Like, there's a certain move combination that can kill you pretty much every single time. And if you get that, you just die, and it happens. But you don't have to win the fight to progress. You do get a little bit of money from it, so your shopping throughout the rest of the run has to be a little bit different, and you fight 1 different trainer. But other than that, it's... And the main reason that it's different is also because what his EV evolves into depends on the outcome of this fight, as well as a different optional fight. So we don't fight that in this run, but if you were to only win, then he gets Flareon. And if you were to only lose, then he gets Vaporeon. I believe if you win one, lose one, it's Jolteon. Don't quote me on that though. But if you win this fight, he gets Flareon, and if you lose, he gets Vaporeon, which will make part important for the speedrun. I do win, so he'll get Flareon. That's not the main difference. The main difference is that he builds his team around what his EV evolves into. And so we can have the Pokemon Exeggutor, Ninetales, or Cloyster as a result of that, and he only doesn't have the one that corresponds to the type that his EV evolved into. So because he has Flareon, he won't get Ninetales, he'll get Cloyster instead. And as a result of that, and so their EXP yields are different, so you'd have to fight a different trainer for a little bit more EXP. Which is honestly a long way for me to say that for that. So we win, he gets Flareon. Walking up Route 1, any encounter is bad, but you expect 3 to 4. I don't remember how many I get, but I remember it's around that range. 2 on the way up is perfectly reasonable. At this point I'm just thinking whatever, it doesn't... What happens very early on, it's easy to let it get you down, but it actually doesn't really matter that much in most cases. like when you get to the end of a run, you're not really thinking about what happened a couple minutes in, unless you're like very, very close to a goal that you had and miss it because of, let's say, an extra encounter or something. You take the path that minimizes your grass tiles, because the encounter rate here is about 10% per tile. So there's my third encounter. Here you walk behind Oak to talk to him, which seems counterintuitive because you take, I believe, from normal like 4 extra steps. But it's actually faster because the camera is centered around you, and your rival here walks like the fewest amount of steps he possibly could. And since he walks at half your speed, it's faster to like have you walk like 7 extra tiles or something crazy, so that he walks about 4 less, or more than 4. Is it 4? Something like that. So and it saves half a second overall. In red-blue, you can go behind Oak or to his left. In yellow, you have to go behind because Pikachu takes up the spot if you go to the left. You could also theoretically go to the right, but there's just a trash can blocking that in yellow, so that's not even an option. Here we shred back up the walk. So now encounters on the way back up is very, very nice. So this is actually a pretty decent time because it was a 4-turn rival, I believe, and only 3 encounters, which are both pretty solid. So now onto the buy. It's my standard buy, 5 balls and 6 potions. Because you're able to buy 5 balls with only 1 negative drawback, and that doesn't even matter most of the time. And because I'm not particularly confident on the Yogo Ball for Nidoran, because it's very, very difficult in yellow, it's better safe than sorry. This is my favorite Gretch tutorial in the whole game because he actually misses it. But the funny thing is, because of how encounter rates work, or not encounter rates, catch rates work, the amount of Pokemon's health and their standard catch rate are actually taken into account on how many times the ball would jiggle before it was caught. So if a Rattata jiggles 3 times, it is actually not possible for it to break out of the ball. Also, so you saw me delay my start press a little bit late there. That's because for Nidoran Manip, if you buffer your save, it's actually, the Manip won't work. So if you buffer the start menu, which actually matters in yellow, but doesn't matter at all in red-blue. But it's a very simple Manip. There's just 1 A press and it's that simple movement. It can produce a pretty decent Nidoran. Perfect attack. Its defense is a little bit variable, 9 or 11 DB. Then has 14 DB speed. And from 13 to 15 DB attack. So here I actually hit the yellow ball, which is very nice. And I named the Nidoran B. It was actually a very early nickname. I realized that I didn't not nickname it, which is just a run over. Because of the same reason that you name your character A, you name your Nidoran one character nickname. Generally A. But I don't like A. So that moves like 2 to 3 minutes, I believe, if you didn't nickname Nidoran, which is just basically run over. But we did, we don't have to worry about hypotheticals. And now here's the first fight we do. It's an optional trainer because you have to get some levels for Brock, because at level 12 you learn Double Kick, which is a fighting type move, which is super effective on Brock's rock types. And there's just pretty much no other way to really deal with Brock. Because in red-blue you could choose a Squirtle or a Bulbasaur, which is strong against Brock as long as you get it to the level at which it can learn a move. But Nidoran needs a lot more experience to get to that point. So Tackle, as you saw me miss one, is actually only 95% accurate. So you expect to miss at least, or not at least, you expect to miss about 1 throughout the forest. But since that Caterpie is only arranged to be a five turn anyway. Let's see, what is that noise? I don't know. Oh, I know why. That's why, because I had my mic in the wrong place. I'm silly. So this Caterpie does 3 with tackle. Wow, no, that's unfortunate. So I'm at 1 HP, but I actually don't heal here. Mostly because I committed what's known as a gambler's fallacy, but we don't need to go into that. So I hit the tackle, but now I'm for a level up and a move learn jingle. I was in red bar, which skips those jingles and lets me act during them, which saves like 5 seconds. So essentially the reason that I did that was because I thought that, not really a thought, but it had used tackle so many times that I had felt like, okay, it's bound to string shot, which is flawed logic, but it worked out for me. But it's kind of interesting to see that, like, so early in the run, I already went for a 50-50. Getting a Pidgey in this grass is nice, but level 8 isn't what you're looking for. You want level 6 or level 4, because level 8 won't get put into a favorable health by one horn attack. And you don't really want to be using multiple turns on a Pidgey when you can just manipulate one. But this fight's also kind of trolly, though. So this Caterpie takes 3 turns to kill. And if he string shots, then you don't outspeed Metapod, which has Harden, which raises his defense, which basically just means that he can stall you pretty much infinitely if he wants to. Also, as a small note, if I were to gain 3 HP there instead of 2 HP, so if I went from 27 to 29, that would have meant that I actually had a very bad Nidoran. It wouldn't be bad, but it would be bad for special, which is really, really bad, because the last fight and some other fights before it, you basically need good special for. Also, it's nice, even though I was slower than Metapod, it didn't harden once. So I got a pretty good fight there. So here I set up another RNG manipulation for a Pidgey. So I have to follow a specific path here. That involves, I believe, 4 A presses, because an A press delays the game by 2 frames. But I get an encounter there, which means that my manip failed, and it wasn't my fault. It's called the in-game timer of the game, so I basically saved on a frame in the in-game timer that didn't allow my manip to work in the intended way. So that's really bad, because now I don't have a flyer, and you need a flyer. So I actually talked to him from below, which saves a little bit of time, but it gives you extra chances for getting an encounter. Because I really, really, really want a Pidgey, so my run doesn't die. Since Caterpie is a range to be a 3-hit with Horn Attack. But I critical the last one, so it's guaranteed at that point. So I don't get the Pidgey. So this time save is completely fake here, because I don't have the Pidgey. So now I'm really worried, because that means that I have to look for a Spearow in Route 3, and Spearow's not as I don't know that there's a manipulation for it, and if I don't get it, I have to basically just grind for one or reset. So Pidgey's a lot more consistent, and it's a lot nicer to have early, but the run's not necessarily dead here. You need to be at least 27 for this fight, and I heal up to 30, because it's not like I can just heal to 27. Here's another spot where you can get red bar for like the level up and a move learn, but it's not really up to you if you get red bar or not. So that's the second last time that you use Leer, so I'll also be swapping up Horn Attack here. Not here, but after I use the Leers on the Sandshrew. So this is a pretty good position. I just need no criticals, and then I get red bar for a level up and a move learn, which, like I said earlier, saves 5 seconds.
Just 5 seconds. Just free. So Sandshrew takes a little bit more than half after 2 Leers, so you just go for that. But he criticals me, so I have to heal. There's just no way around having to heal there. So I swap up Horn Attack, but I will be at, I believe, 17 health. Meaning that I don't really have to heal for Brock. It'd be safer if I did. But what I'm thinking is I didn't get Red Bar, I don't have a Pidgey. I need to save some more time. So I actually don't heal for Brock, even though I'm not quite at the HP that I would want. I'm not really likely to die here. But, like, if I die, it's not like it's particularly unreasonable. So I get a critical hit here, which saves me 1 kick animation, which is nice. Which is about, I believe, 2 or 3 seconds. So Geodude always tackles, and it always does 6. Onix has tackle as well, but it does 5. So I'm at 6 now. You have to Leer it twice, and then double kick, and then double kick twice. So now I'm at 1. Now I'm really hoping for Bide here, because Bide would guarantee a win. But Screech is okay, because I'm at 1. My defense doesn't matter. So at this point, I'm a little bit over 50% to win, but not that much over. But I see Bide, and that means that I've won the fight. I have to heal before the next fight, but I also get Red Bar for this level up. And have defeated Brock in a little over 16 minutes. This run would be crazy if I had a Pidgey already. Like 16-03 Brock is very, very good. Although not having Pidgey is pretty much like 25 seconds slower, so. So I actually heal, I potion inside of the gym here instead of outside. It's a very specific choice that saves a very, very small amount of time. The gym is less laggy than the outside by just a few frames. So opening your start menu in the gym is a few frames faster. Also take an extra step here. And I'm really mad at myself for doing that. Like, I literally remembered that, like, on Champion, like, when I was reviewing through how the battles went in my head. I just went like, oh, yeah, I took an extra step there. So with this Horn Attack count, I actually have to save a few, because you just want to use your last Horn Attack on the last Metapod. And the main way that you can save Horn Attacks is through Badge Boost, which I'll briefly explain. After defeating Brock, you get a flat 9/8 boost to your attack. You can't see it like in the stats screen, but in battle it'll be there unless the move Haze is used. But when your stats get recalculated by you or an opponent using a item or move that recalculates stats, like String Shot for instance, then that badge boost is reapplied. So I see String Shot here, so I know that Tackle will kill. So because the badge boost is reapplied, I get that 9/8 boost, and so I can kill with Tackle. We use it in cooler ways later, but it's most obvious here. This fight can be a little bit unfortunate. At my HP, it's not too scary, but it can still waste time. So Rattata is a one hit because you have double kick, which is super effective. He has quick attack, but that does 8. So even quick attack critical wouldn't kill me. But the Ekans is the real scary one because he's about 28% to use Wrap, that being he's 1 in 3 to use it, and then it's only about 85% to hit. But he Poison Stings, which is nice. The fastest thing you can go for is Leer, specifically Leer Fail, but you can't complain if you don't get Wrap. So this next fight, you'll see something a little bit different, because your Nidorann's pretty overleveled at this point, so you can actually one-hit some of his Pokemon, even though the rest of those were pretty safely not one-hits. I mean, the Ekans was in the red, but that's only because I got a critical hit. When I horn attack the Weedle, it dies because I got critical, but it's arranged to die anyway, a pretty favorable one. Kakuna, it's just a 2-shot. His only move is Harden, so he can't hit you. What's kind of interesting is that the Kakunas and the Metapods here only have Harden, but the one in Viridian Forest has Tackle and String Shot, because these fights are just copy-pasted from Red and Blue, but the one in Viridian Forest didn't actually exist in that game. So you see me double kick here. Double kick has a shake animation versus Horn Attack's flash, which is about 50 frames faster, so almost a full second. Even with the extra text box that comes with it not being very effective, it's still about half a second faster, which is very significant for just using a different move. So here I evolve in the Nidorino. It's kind of nice to use Nidorino, even if it's only for one fight in this game, because in Red-Blue, we don't use him at all. So I have 3 horn attacks for this fight, which is exactly what I want, because this Caterpie takes 1 and then a different move, and then Metapod takes 2. So Caterpie isn't in the red here, but after I get the string shot, I'm thinking that double kick can kill. I mean, it'll be able to kill either way, but double kick's only faster if it only has to kick once, because the second animation takes longer than just using like tackle or something. The shake doesn't make up for that, but it's fine. Metapod's a 2-hit, so I'm out of horn attacks here, but that's fine because this is exactly where you expect to run out of horn attacks. And this run is looking pretty good so far, but I don't have a flyer yet. So I have to find one in this grass, which is I believe 50%. But before I even have to take an extra step, I get Spearow, which is excellent. So you tackle Spearow. It puts it into the low yellow, so I believe it's actually a guaranteed catch at this health. But I have 4 balls remaining, so even if it wasn't, it's not a big deal. So this is very, very nice, because like now my Pidgey IGT didn't even affect me that much. First try Spearow is always nice. It's a little bit slower than Pidgey because he has a longer cry, but that's minuscule. I'm more so just relieved that the run is not dead at this point. I'm obviously losing a lot of time on this split, but a lot of it's just like the time that I fake made up on my forest split. So here we deposit Pikachu, because Pikachu is A, laggy, B, useless, and C, triggers cutscenes throughout the run. C is the only one that we're actually worried about. So we deposit him before taking the center. A, because there's an animation where it shows the Pokeballs. So it'd take longer, but also because Pikachu like jumps on the counter and just does a bunch of nonsense. If you use the center with him. And we don't want that because that's slow. So this is actually a pretty solid time. And here's the third RNG manipulation, this time for no encounters. So that's a start flash. It's sort of like an A-press, but it delays more time. You basically do start flashes and A-presses to reset the encounter cycle. So yeah, so there are some A-presses and some interesting movement here. Like I take an extra step there, which actually means I take 2 extra steps. Each step is 34 frames, so that's 34. That's sorry. Each step is 17 frames, so at least 34 frames. Here's more extra steps, but you've got to do it because it's part of the manip, even though it looks weird. There actually is a faster one, but this one has the best IGT rate of any moon manip. It's only about 2.8% to not work. So I'm taking a specific path. I'm doing the I'm doing the start flashes. It's just like there's just not a lot to say about it. An A press here, 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 here. So then you open up your menu and evolve Nidorino to Nidoking. Because Nidoking is an extremely powerful Pokemon and we need some of that power boost for this fight. This fight is pretty much free because you're at full health because you took the center. There's one bad thing that can happen, if I remember correctly, that actually happened to me this run. Maybe it's a different run, I don't remember. No, was it? No. So he can disable your horn attack, which means that you have to... You saw me hesitate there because I wasn't sure if I could double kick or not. You'd have to like tackle instead of horn attack, which is a lot weaker of a move. So Voltorb, you can always horn attack double kick, although I horn attack here because I actually used the wrong move by accident. I just didn't get the inputs in time. But it's fine because it doesn't actually waste a turn, it just a little bit slower. So this Coughing is a range to 2-shot, and if it doesn't, it's not a big deal, but it has Smog, which is a very, very slow move. So hitting that range is nice. The reason Smog is slow is because it's not very effective, and it has a long animation. But it's only 70% accurate, so Smog misses pretty fast. I take that specific movement, even though it looks like it's pretty much pointless. You actually can't get encounters on those tiles, so it's slightly better. Jesse and James, that's another difference between red, blue, and yellow. A lot of the Rocket fights were replaced with Jesse and James fights, and a lot of them are a lot easier. The second has Wrap as well. I actually get it here. He was unlucky. Wrap just immobilizes you for 2 to 5 turns, as well as moves like Bind, Fire Spin, and Clamp. So 3-turn Wrap, I mean, it's unfortunate, but it could have been worse. So Meowth is weak to fighting, so we double kick it. And then this Coughing is another range to 2-shot. So we actually get Smog here, and like look how slow that is. Like that move alone took about 3 seconds. And it only did 1 damage. So we missed the range, but now we can just double kick. I mean, like, cause this time is still very, very good. I'm not too upset about like, cause missing a range is perfectly reasonable, and Wrap is whatever. But a 27-33 Moon is very, very solid. Like that's my either my second or third best Moon ever. And so we get to finish off those easy fights, because you can't really... Unless you Gen 1 miss, which is only 1 in 256, you can't really... So this was just silly of me. I'll talk about this a little bit later. On Route 3 can't really kill you, and then the fights in Moon are pretty free. But what happened there was I counted the trees wrong, so I missed the candy pickup. But the game doesn't let you buffer the same input twice. So I tried to buffer A on that tile, missed it. Then I tried to buffer A on the next tile, but I didn't pick up the rare candy even though I was on the correct tile. So I had to re-walk onto that tile. It's gonna screw me again in half an hour, and I'll tell you when that happens. But it's very annoying. So this fight is absolutely terrible. The Spearow has Growl, which is about 19%, and it lowers your attack, and it's just terrible. Leer there is pretty much the best thing I can go for. Furious Wipes isn't quite as bad as Growl, but it's slow because it's a multi-hit move. But this Sandshrew is a 3-shot, and he has Sand Attack, and he's 1 and 2 to use it, and then it's 3 and 4 to hit, because in Gen 1, NPC moves have an additional 1 in 4 chance to fail. So it lives on 1, but fortunately the Sand Attack fails. So at least I can't get Sand Attack again, so this isn't too bad. Because of the badge boost from Sand Attack, the Rattata actually went down in 1 kick. Then this Eevee's a range with double kick. But it's guaranteed if you get Sand Attack, so it's actually not that bad of a fight. Only missed 1 move, and then it got sort of made up for with the 1 kick and the Eevee being guaranteed. So it definitely could have been worse. Could have been way worse. Although that said, this bridge was actually very, very bad. Mostly because, like, that's still not a great fight. Like, losing a turn there isn't all that fun. Oh, and also the Rattata went for quick attack on, like, the turn that I didn't want it. So Sand Attack actually just decreases your attack to 2/3, so missing 1 move after that is actually, 1 move out of 4 is pretty nice. This Caterpie's a range to 1-shot, but it's very, very unfavored. So you see me double kick it. I believe that this next Weedle is a range, but I haven't missed it. I think, I don't know. I'm not even sure if it's a range because I just haven't missed it in so long. I don't even remember if it is anymore. I just assume it is. So this next fight, she has a Pidgey and a Nidoran female. Pidgey's a range and it has Sand Attack, and Nidoran female is not a range. And it has double kick, which is terrible because it's not very effective and it hits you twice, so it's like Smog but twice. You lose 6 seconds of double kicks. So Pidgey range hit is nice. And then Nidoran female scratches, so whatever. Pretty decent fight. This is the last guy before you get Thrash, which basically makes this next section boring and very tough to find things to commentate about. Rattata quick attacks me. He actually quick attack criticals me. Wow. And then I double kick critical him. That's guaranteed to 1 kick anyway, so it's not even like the critical's anywhere close to useful. So here I Horn Attack Ekans. It's a range to die. It's not particularly favored. I think it's like maybe 60%. But he has Wrap if you don't kill him, and I didn't kill him. Then he 3-turn wraps me, which is really unfortunate. I actually would have preferred 4-turn wrap there. I think. It's just like he didn't wrap me for 2 turns, but I also don't get red bar for this level up. I think the time save from a 4-turn wrap versus red bar is pretty comparable. But now I use my rare candies, and I'm at level 23, rather than Thrash. And I'm also looking at my stats here. 56, 47, 53, 48 is the best Nidoran that you can manipulate. That means that my stats are FBEF, which translates to 15 attack, 11 defense. These are DVs, by the way. Similar to IVs later, but less variable. 15 attack, 11 defense, 14 speed, and 15 special. Swap up Thrash there, because now that's our main move. I think I only use Horn Attack. You only maybe use Horn Attack twice after this. You guaranteed use it once. That Nidoran is actually a range even with Thrash, and it has the same double kick that it had earlier, so it's annoying to miss. Mankey's just sort of just Thrash and kill it. pretty boring, to be honest. This entire section's pretty boring, so if anyone has any questions or anything, now's a good time. Like, I use Thrash every single fight after this for the entire split, or, like, until Misty, except for one. And even that fight is not particularly exciting. This is not a good bridge at all, but what can you do? So then we pick up Charmander because we need a Pokemon for Cut and Dig, and it's just right here. It's even faster than catching a Paras, even if you were to manipulate one. So this is the first real instance of Vaporeon strats and Flareon strats being different. With Flareon strats, you fight this guy who's 2 turns faster. Yes. No, 1 turn faster, but potentially 2 turns. Because of the EXP difference I alluded to earlier, you need more EXP from fighting the top hiker if you're on Vaporeon, but here we just want the faster fight. This Onix has bind, so getting tackle is just, it's nice to see not bind. So now in the next 3 fights, barring Gen 1 miss, which I've alluded to a few times now, there's only 2 things that could be variable. Being that in the next fight after this, the Rattata has quick attack, and in the fight after that, the Pidgey has quick attack. So just more Thrash and match at this point. Fight this guy because the bottom hiker has 4 Pokemon and this guy only has 2. And, you know, talk to the girl. This fight's actually kind of scary at some points in red. Because you have Thrash in yellow, you just do more Thrash and spam. So no quick attack from the Rattata or the Pidgey there is lucky-ish. It's not like it really matters, though. So now here's Bill. Another major difference is that certain buildings that you could dig out of, or in red escape rope out of, you cannot in yellow. So you can't escape rope out of here in yellow. Also, if you say yes here, but if you were to say no, it's 2 extra text boxes. But I sort of like this portion of the run because, like, after you do that, there's about a 10-second period where you don't have to touch the keyboard at all. Because this is just all a cutscene, and then the game actually walks you back to Bill on its own. So it's actually about 12 seconds. So then you just have to mash. Now what's known as the Walk of Shame. You just walk this path back to Cerulean City. Because you don't have another option. You have to get back somehow. So take the Pokemon Center because you can actually skip this and then take the Pokemon Center after Misty, which is about 2 seconds faster. But you also need higher health for that, and I'm at, I believe, 22. So unless I'm about to rely on either a low roll from, it's a low roll. Unless I'm about to rely on a water gun to be nice to me, or a crit in the X defend, I'd have to heal. So that's just way too low to not heal. It's safer this way, so you can't really complain. And 2 seconds isn't that much. Like, even on some, like, passable HPs, I wouldn't do it. What's your question, Noid? Something interesting is if you fight Top Hiker, you're actually level 25 for this Goldeen, and then it's actually about a 19% range to one-shot. At 24, it can't one-shot unless you get a critical. It actually has Supersonic, which is 55% accurate and can confuse you. So you just don't want to see Supersonic. Tail Whip there is technically the best thing it can do, but you're fine with Peck. You should eat something now. Noid. So now Misty, I believe the first instance of what's called Smart AI, being that she can only use moves that are super effective. So moves she has are Tackle, Harden, Water Gun, and Bubble Beam, and she can use X Defend, which she can still do. But she can only Bubble Beam or Water Gun, which are 1 and 2. And then X Defend is 1 and 4. So she's 3 need to either Water Gun or Bubble Beam. Bubble Beam is scary because it can drop your speed and then you don't outspeed her anymore. But if you see Water Gun, it's fine. 25 damage isn't that much, and it's actually pretty good health for the next section. You get Bubble Beam, which I will teach later because Nidoking's move pull is absolutely stupid. And it can learn Bubble Beam for no good reason. It's just hard to like commentate this section because this is just, there's just so little to say about it. I mean, until Surge, I mean, Boat Rival too, I guess. So I want to talk about Thrash a little bit. So Thrash is 90 base power. You don't have to reselect it every time, but after 3 or 4 turns of use, which is 1 and 2 as to what happens, you then confuse yourself. And you don't like being confused. So you basically just, you very, very rarely would use it in a situation in which you would actually need to get a 4-turn. If I remember correctly, there's only 1 spot in the entire run where you actually use it in that sense. And that's because there's just not a better option, unfortunately. Okay, so here, I'm gonna pick up Hidden Forest Door. But hidden item jingles are very long, so as long as you buffer the A press on that tile, so you press A like as you're going to it, you will actually jingle skip it, which saves like, I want to say about 4 seconds. Also, this part's very, very unlucky. So that's what's known as a surge encounter. It's not worth buying a repel to like, it's not worth buying a repel, but you have to go in this grass anyway, because it's faster than walking all the way around, usually. And then you have to dodge this trainer. So I actually get 2 when you're only 35% to even get any. So I'm pretty pissed off about that. Mostly because, like, I've never gotten a surge where, like, the minute value was 49. This could have been my chance, because my possible time save, as you see, is 25 seconds. And I would have needed to have saved about 15 of those, but now that's just not even a possibility. Because each encounter is about 11 seconds. So now I'd be like struggling to break even. And so all of these Pidgeys have Quick Attack. I believe I got one, which is about what you expect. Seeing as they're all 1 and 3 to use it. This next guy has a Spearow and Eradicate. They're both one-shots as well, which is why this split's also kind of boring until Surge. But, Eradicate also has Quick Attack. I don't quite remember if it Quick Attacks me, but I want to say it does. It does not, okay. So now we go to SSN, which I actually really love the music of, so I'll probably be singing along to that. Dun, 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 dun. So I teach Bubble Beam here. Because I believe I said this before, but the first time you turn in a new area, so I just entered SSN, if you open the menu on that tile, it'll actually skip the turn frame. That's not actually true. The first time you enter an area, it generates an extra turn frame, which you usually only get if you go from being stopped to starting the move. But it generates an extra one every single on your first turn in a new area. But if you open the menu, it cancels that turn frame. But that's obviously not worth it because the start flash, like we said, is about 50 frames. But if you do something in that menu and you have to teach Bubble Beam, it's actually worth it. So I think we'll see that a few more times throughout the course of a run. It's a very, very minuscule time save, though. Almost not even worth talking about. So this fight has got 4 Pokemon. Absolutely accidentally thrashing this fight is very, very bad. Because, well, Spearow will die, so that's good. Then Rattata will die. Also, we Bubble Beam this instead of Double Kick, because Bubble Beam is also a Shake animation, but doesn't have the extra text box, and both of them kill. So then you're feeling pretty good about yourself. And then you Thrash Sandshrew, and then it does about half. So that's your third turn of Thrash. Unless you critical that, and then I believe also critical Eevee, and we double kick Eevee. It's just like, it's just a nightmare because then you're confused and it's just not good. So you don't do that, you don't lose any turns, but you lose a little bit of time because you have to reselect moves, you know? So now we talk to the captain because this is how you get cut. Interestingly, and I don't actually know why this is, so usually jingle skips work because the game is loading 2 audio tracks simultaneously, and it just isn't good at doing that. But you can jingle skip on HMO1, even though there's nothing else loading, as long as your name is, I believe, 4 characters or less. Also nice bonk. I also bonked on him because I wanted to get what's known as the kiss, where you just, like, go into him, like that. Mwah. And then here's a 20-second cutscene where you can do absolutely nothing. So I came out at 48:01, remember? I can now start moving again at 48:23, so that's 22 seconds. So in this shop, I'm gonna sell some items and buy some repels, because this is the last like convenient shop to take before Rock Tunnel. So yeah, buy some repels. You need 3 for Rock Tunnel. Sell your SS Pokeballs because you're not supposed to have that bag slot, and bag management will become more important after my flute split. But now we do another menu, and because it takes so long to open the start menu, you want to do a lot of things in one menu if you can. So I swap up repels, teach cut, and then I also teach dig all in the same menu. So now I also, because I have to cut down the tree anyway to go, I have to go into the menu for that, so it doesn't even like use an extra menu. So now I take a search path that we call Kevin cans, because it's technically more optimal. It winds up backfiring on me though. Fortunately, the worst, so cans are supposed to be guaranteed to be adjacent to one another, or like, but the first can can only be in half the cans, so it's here. There's a 3 in 4 chance that it's in the next can, but if it weren't, I believe it would either be in the first can, or it would not be in any can. But say I found it in the first can that I checked, it would be, I believe, 5 and 6 to be in that top left can. Hi, Rachel. Because cans are flawed, and I believe, and if you got it in that third can I checked, which is on the top row, this is, yeah, yep. Then it actually wouldn't be in any can unless it was in the, top left can. I already beat your time. Joke's on you. Rude pinkish. I do the bike shop after, or not the bike shop, the Pokefan Club after Surge, even though if you do it before Surge, it's actually the exact same amount of time. Because Surge can kill you, I got very lucky Surge there, where I got a X-Speed into Growl, and I criticaled, so I took no damage, which I'll take, because I'm not even going for Red Bar on this run. But if I were to die to Surge, then I've wasted less of my life not doing that already. So now you have to walk over to the dig house. I mean, I can see why you didn't know that, Rachel. It's fine. You have to walk over to Diglett's cave because you can't dig from in there like you can in Red Blue. I mostly remember your PB, Rachel, because I wanted to compare against it when I was first going for sub 2. But, like, yeah, because your early game died to Misty, but it was insane up to then. Tried to swap Repel, nice. Another menu here, bicycle into, you use TM34, or 24. That's why you swap up double kick there as well. Because you need Thunderbolt for the rest of the run, but you use it less than any other move that you use for the rest of the run, so use it in the one slot that takes you 2 to scroll to. I find it pretty impressive that you managed to sub 2 even with a Misty Death, though. And here's the one fight where you actually have to hit a 4-turn Thrash. Thanks, Rachel. Appreciate that. So this fight is 3 and 4 to just be absolutely fine. Because you're 1 and 2 to get a 4-turn Thrash, and then you're 1 and 2 even if you don't to just hit through Confusion. So I Horn Attack here because it saves the Thrash windup animation, but I don't hit through. What's fortunate there is that Bellsprout has Wrap, which is bad, but it also has Growth, Poison Powder, and I think Sleep Powder. So not getting Grap or Poison or Sleep Powder is pretty good. Because Sleep is OP in Gen 1, and it takes up your entire turn to wake up. So getting Chain Sleeped is possible, not particularly likely, but it can happen. So at that point I'm just like, whatever, man, it happens. So what's funny about this fight is so the Venonat is a range to die to Thrash, which is why you Bubble Beam there, because you don't want to risk a 4-turn Thrash. But because I had hit the range so much, I actually started to question whether or not it was even a range in yellow, and then I miss it. But getting Tackle if you miss the range is very good, because it also has Supersonic and Confusion. Confusion doesn't even do that much, but if I were to be in red bar, it would probably kill me, unless I was like in really high red bar. Also, this rock tunnel was frame perfect except for one thing, and I was so mad at myself. That'd be so fun for a first ever frame perfect rock tunnel, to actually get it in a PB. I actually briefly considered going for red bar here, because Cubone does about 25, so I'd be in safe red bar, and it saves, like, I believe about 15 seconds to get Cubone red bar. But because I'm scared and only wanted the PB and didn't want like I think this could still 156 from here, potentially with really good execution, which I didn't get, but I wasn't really looking for that, I just wanted the PB. So I made the safer play. So the only scary fight in this, after this is this fight right after. After this fight for the split is actually just this next fight. This Oddish has a range, or is a range. It's about, I believe, about 1 and 2. A little bit more favorable, but only about 54%. And then 2 of its 4 moves are very, very bad. So I'm just hoping for a crit here. But I just hit the range. Then Bulbasaur is also a range, but it's a lot more favorable and is less likely to screw you if you miss the range. But I hit them both, so. So here's the one mistake in my rock tunnel. Take an extra step here, which I've actually done a lot recently. But this part I'm actually proud of. Like, is it this part or? I was thinking it was somewhere else, I don't know. I like that repel spot too. Because not only does it just work as the repel spot, but it puts my repel war out on a turn frame. So even though it's slower, I like the way that it looks, and it's easier to make the movement. Even though Gen 1 movement is easy in the first place. Also, fun side note, if I Gen 1 miss on this fight, I'm like, I think 1 in 4 to die. Because these Geodudes and Gravelers have self-destruct. Which does like 45. This fight is another just thrash and win fight. It's unbelievable how good Nidoking is in this part. Like, it sucks when you die to Oddish or whatever, but just the fact that you can do this, the rest of it so effortlessly because of a great move pool and good attacking stats is just it's insane. Pick up the Max Ether there. That will be used in Elite Four. Bang! Right there, Repels wears out. Nice bonk. So on my special, which is 15 DV, this Growlithe is about a 94% damage range. But even if I were to miss it, it's not a big deal. But I swap up Bubble Beam there, because I want Rock Slide to be in slot 1, and I won't need Bubble Beam after this fight. This Vulpix is actually a range with Bubble Beam as well, but Thrash is guaranteed to kill it. And the worst that it can really do is actually Ember is a Ember burn you. But I've actually gotten that once when I accidentally used Bubble Beam, and it was kind of hilarious. It just felt like I just got karma. I was able to work around it though because I had good money. And this part's very unfortunate. So I was 1 over on my Elixir, but because the game doesn't let you buffer the same input twice in a row, I try to buffer. I try to buffer looking backward, then I try to buffer looking backward again. It doesn't take the input, and it's so easy to forget. But then like I don't know what tile I'm on. I don't know where the Elixir is in comparison to me. It's just awful. So now's our last shopping trip of the run. We buy TM07 or Horn Drill. Enough Super Repels for the rest of the game. And not 4 Super Potions. You actually can buy 4 if you buy 3 Pokeballs. Or sorry, 2 Pokeballs. But since I buy 5, even though I sell them back, I don't have enough money for it. Pokédoll to use on the Marowak later. Then a Soda Pop to give to this girl for Rock Slide. Now we buy our X items. (11x accuracies, not 12. 6 X speeds, which is 5 and an extra, because a couple things can happen that could make you need to buy an extra, or can make you need an extra X speed. So the buy itself was pretty good, actually. I didn't really make any mistakes. I overscrolled a couple times, but I caught my mistake. But I'm losing time here, or I'm gonna lose time here because I make a stupid play here. So even though cursor's on item, I go to A, like my trainer card, which honestly makes no sense. Cause like, even if I'm thinking that cursor's on Pokedex, scrolling down 1 wouldn't bring me to my item slot. So I don't even know how I do that. Wait, am I losing time or barely saving time here? I don't remember. Maybe I'm saving like 5 seconds. Pretty bad fly split overall, though. Mostly because of that Elixir, honestly. So here's the menu. You swap up TM07, Super Repel. Teach Nidoking Rock Slide over Bubble Beam, which is why we swapped it up just then. And then there's TM07, ready to be used again. So generally, you would actually you would put X accuracy in slot 3 here. Also, I'm upset about that right there. I tried to use X special, but I remember hitting down 4 times. I guess it just didn't take an input because of consecutive input lag. But I was a little upset because I knew I did that part correctly. But it's whatever. Decent enough menu. But I prefer X accuracies to be in slot 2 just because of red muscle memory. It's like the one piece of red muscle memory that I won't get rid of. Even though you can't even buffer to slot 2 in yellow. Heck, you can't even buffer to slot 1 in yellow. So this fight's pretty straightforward. It's the first exact drill fight. I got Fury Attack here, which is the only move he has that actually damages me. I'd be upset, but on an earlier run, I didn't get Fury swipes or Fury Attack when it actually would have killed me, so I considered it to be just like fair. But it's not that big of a deal. But even though Horn Drill is 30% accurate, X accuracy skips the accuracy check entirely, meaning that you can't miss your attack, any attack, no matter what. It's not possible. Unless you switch out, then it is. See if he has Quick Attack, and getting Quick Attack here would actually put me into kill range of one of the Ghastly's Nightshade. So it's very nice to not get it there, because that's just scary. Granted, I do level up after the first Ghastly, but it's still scary for that one. I've lost several runs to red and yellow and everything just to getting unlucky there. So Rock Slide is 90% accurate, and then the Ghastlies have 3 moves: Lick, Confuse Ray, and Nightshade. If you're on a strat called Rock Slide Skip, which it's exactly what it sounds like, you skip Rock Slide, and then you Thunderbolt the Ghastlies, hoping for criticals. If you do that, then you actually want Nightshade, because if you do that, that means that you're at high enough HP to tank some Nightshades. But it's generally a pretty risky strat. It's rarely worth it. But I hit both of the important ones, and I say that those are the important ones because there's a mandatory heal coming up. So I pick up a couple elixirs before then, because they're just right here. But dying here after the heal pad is very, very unlikely. You need to miss like... You either need to miss like 4 Rock Slides, use the wrong move, or like miss Rock Slide and a Confuse Ray and hit itself like 4 times. Point is, it's probably not going to happen. Some more just Rock Sliding the Ghastlies. That rare candy there is mandatory to pick up, obviously, and it's, I think, the only rare candy that we actually pick up that you have to like continue. Here's how we get the Pokédoll. So I'm first gonna swap up my Super Repels, then I Pokédoll. The Pokédoll's intended mechanic is to flee every battle, and that's what we're doing there. It's basically just a sequence break, because the game intends for you to get the Sylph Scope going into the rocket hideout in Game Corner in Celadon, but you can skip that entirely by picking up the Pokédoll. We consider it to be not a glitch because you're using an intended mechanic in an unintended way, and you're not actually doing anything that's like really glitchy. It's just a sequence break. This fight is another just X-Stack Horn Drill. There's not a lot to say about it. Nothing can really go wrong here. I think that it's probably the one fight in the game that, unless you had very, 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 very bad Ghastly luck, it's one of 2 fights that you just can't lose. Because Meowth does, like, even with Payday Critical, which is his only attacking move, it's like 11. So it's not impossible to lose, but I can't even, I cannot imagine a situation in which that fight could actually kill you. Maybe in one of the ones I just described where the Ghastly could kill you, the Meowth could also kill you. So this time loss here is mostly from Fury Attack. So now we fly back to Celadon and use the center. Something I forgot to mention earlier, using the Cerulean Center also sets your warp point for digging, which is why when we dug from Diglett's Cave, we got to go right to Cerulean. As opposed to just entering the center like it is in later generations, you actually have to use it in Gen 1. So we have to use the center here, but it's fine because we get our PP restored, which is pretty necessary for this next section. This is what we buy our freshwater for, or you can actually buy any of the items, the drinking items, but freshwater is just the fastest. Since you can't even buffer that in yellow, you can in red, so it doesn't matter in red. But you give it to him, now you can enter Saffron City. And we go to Silphco. Here's a pretty interesting area. It's not like it's terribly dangerous, but I have to pay close attention to how much damage I take. First, I gotta not mess up this elevator. I'm always very careful here, because if you go to the wrong floor, you waste about 10 seconds. But here, I was not very careful. Bonk, bonk. This free was honestly pretty bad, though. I sort of lucked out on not having to heal for Koga, though. Oh, shoot, spoiler. So this Machoke has, I believe, Karate Chop, Low Kick, Leer, and I think Focus Energy. I get Leer here, which means that I'm not going to take damage, which is nice. We fight this guy first because he has a gold mine behind him. Like, look at those 3 items, and we use them all. Like, first, a rare candy. Earthquake. And the Carbos. We pick up those items later in Pokemon Red, and we don't even pick up the Carbos at all. But you really do need Earthquake for this section in Yellow. So, I like this menu, and I like that I actually nailed it for once. So, you swap up TM26, so Earthquake, and then you use the Carbos to reset your cursor because you use the last of an item. And so it just sort of works out nicely. So the main reason that you would need Earthquake is for fights like this, especially the Jesse and James fight. This guy has an Arbok, which is a one-hit with Earthquake. But if you didn't Earthquake, then you would either need to X Accuracy then Horn Drill, which takes 2 turns instead of 1. And it can use Glare, and then you have to use your Full Restore. You can also Thrash it, which is only 60% to 2-shot. But that's a 2-shot. So here, for the same purpose of saving turn frames, like I mentioned earlier, I do the menu on this tile, like that. Slot 4 with X speeds, and then I actually forget what I'm doing here for a second. That's why I scrolled up. Completely forgot where my rare candies were. But I like this strat a lot. So you rare candy before this next fight, which is with your rival. Also, this Sand Slash, I believe, has, like, I believe you can go for Slash, Swift, and Sand Attack. You might have a 4th move. Those are the 3 that I've seen. Slash does a lot of damage because he's guaranteed to crit with it. So you're almost forced to heal if you get that, unless you get very, very good luck elsewhere. Swift is pretty fine because it does, like, 20. Not too bad. And then Sand Attack just does nothing. Like, it lowers your accuracy, but because you're using an X accuracy on this fight, it doesn't even matter. So I think I get, yeah, Swift here. So it does 21. So we only have 4 Horn Trills and he has 5 Pokemon. So we have to, obviously not Horn Drill one of them. But the way that this works, actually, I love it a lot. So his last 3 Pokemon are Magneton, Kadabra, and Flareon. And all 3 of them died to Earthquake. So obviously one Earthquake, one of those. But we level up here. And because of our Carbos and our rare candies, we outspeed this Kadabra. And we Earthquake that because there's no super effective text. I just love how we're like just barely faster. It's kind of satisfying. So now we're out of Horn Drills, but we don't need any until Sabrina. You get Lapras here. There's 2 Pokemon that you can use for Strength/Surf Slaves, Lapras and Squirtle. Squirtle actually takes less extra steps, and I believe is less text, because the Lapras guy talks forever. But Squirtle is level 10, and at that point it already has to move Bubble. So you need to override a move, but Lapras only has 2 moves. So teaching him 2 more moves won't need to override one. So he's a little bit faster. This fight is also completely free. Because 2 of their Pokemon are weak to Earthquake, and another one of their Pokemon is Meowth. So, not too intimidating. So now we fight Giovanni. So there's 2 Pokemon from him that can hit us. His lead Nidorina, where we set up, and his Persian, which is just faster than us. His Persian's a fast Pokemon. But I also like what we do here as well. So we swap up our X specials, and we use an X attack. I believe I get Guard Spec here. Guard Spec is the fastest thing you can do. But, Nidorino can't do that much damage. He could have knocked me into heal range, maybe, but it wouldn't have been that bad. So with Persian, you mostly just don't want to see Bite, because Bite can flinch, and that's bad. Payday is fine. Growl also lowers your attack, but that just means that you don't one-shot Nidoqueen. It's not that scary. Like, it can go wrong, but it generally won't. So nothing too bad can happen. Oh, it also has Slash, which would put me into where I need to heal. But this health, I do not need to heal. I talk about it a lot, but honestly, it doesn't matter that much. Just like a few seconds time save. But Sabrina's another very safe split. You don't suck like I do. This Safari Zone makes me cringe if I ever have to see it again. Don't have to worry about that yet, though. So we just dug out. And see Celadon City. Is it this fight? Is it this run? No, okay. It's another menu here because you have to Poke Flute for Snorlax anyway. So might as well Super Repel, then miss a text box, then Elixir. And then Poke Flute. What's nice is after the text box is done printing, as long as you weren't mashing like during it, you can just hold B and you'll print the text box frame perfectly. So just buffer it basically. Bum, 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 bum. Missed this rare candy by 1, but at least it wasn't one too far, because then you have to walk up again. Bike up, but it's slow. This is another sort of like break in the run for about, I think, 10 to 15 seconds, because you don't pick up PP up like you might in red, depending on what route you're on. So as soon as you go to the right, you just hug the wall for like 15 seconds. In the game, actually, while you're on cycling road, it actually goes down for you. So it's just sort of sit there. So I like, in red, you would cut down these cut trees. So there's 2 of them, and it saves about like half a second to do that in red, but in yellow, it's a lot more laggy to do that, and your cut friend, or slave or whatever, is in slot 3 of your Pokemon instead of slot 4, so it takes 2 inputs to get there, so it's slower in yellow. Even though you have to take really funny looking movement. This would be so much faster if I was confident in my double inputs. So this Safari Zone starts out pretty well. You gotta pick up full restore because you need your full restores in yellow. You pick up 2, sometimes 3, depending on how the first 2 go. But you need 2 full restores for the Elite Four. There's no way around that. You can sometimes get away with 1, but it's not safe. And usually slower. So here's where I'm really disappointed in this. Okay, so this part's fine. Like, I save it. But this movement here is very awkward. And I completely fail. That alone isn't that bad, because that movement is awkward. I hate it. It's whatever. It gets worse. So what's kind of cool is, wow, nice. Biking to Sabrina is actually faster, than flying to Saffron and then, biking by a couple seconds. Actually, can't prove that so the menuing technique I used, I was trying to buffer to bike there, even though my cursor was on Super Repel. By holding A on item, and then if you hit B, it reapplies your A input as long as you're still holding A. Also, watch this. This is so stupid. I was so mad at myself. Like, I have never messed up that movement before, but I just didn't hold left for quite long enough, so I messed it up. I was not happy with that. I was very, very upset. But yeah, so you hold A, then I use B because it would reapply my A. But if I were just to mash A, I'd use an extra Super Repel, then I have to YOLO some tiles later. Or buy an extra Super Repel. So Flash Fail is pretty fast. His only move is Flash. Actually get it twice, 2 Flash Fails. And Sabrina can use an X-Defend on Abra, but that doesn't even let him live in Earthquake. So, this is the fight that you cannot die on. Because all of his Pokemon are all of her Pokemon are one-shots, and her lead can't kill you. So just set up. What's sad is my PB's Sabrina split is so bad that I'm still saving a considerable amount here. Like, 13 seconds for 2 movement mistakes on the same split is unbelievable. Like, not even just movement mistakes, but considerable movement mistakes. Like those lost me some time. But here, I'm feeling pretty good at myself. So, you can, as long as you buffer to bike there and then clear the text box within the first 9 frames, it's faster to bike by like as many as 9 frames or 5 frames, I think, somewhere around there. So here's the last fight where we use Thrash. We use it because in this fight because you don't have to reselect a move, and also because your Earthquake PP until you use your next elixir is very tight. Like if I Earthquaked here by accident, I'd have to like Thrash on maybe the next fight or something, and that's just not a good strategy. Also, Thrash is a shake animation after the initial windup. So it's faster than like having to reselect Earthquake and then watch the flash and then reselect Earthquake and then watch the flash. It's just slow. So this is actually the same Hypno, or the same fight really, as it was in Red. This Hypno has Headbutt, Confusion, Poison Gas, and Disable. I'm just looking for not Confusion really, because if it Confusions, I have to Super Potion. So Disable's nice. Just wanted it to not disable Thunderbolt really, and even if it did, I would just Thrash, which would be slower, but fine. This is a good HP for Koga. You have to set up an X-Sac, an X-Accuracy, and an X-Speed. In Red, you actually die to this fight to set up some Red Bar, but in Yellow, you just don't have that same option. The Gym Leaders are just a lot better overall. So X-Accuracy, I see Psychic here, and I basically just want X-Attack at this point, because he can X-Attack or Psychic or Sleep Powder. I get Sleep Powder here, which sucks, because now I have to use my Poke Flute, which is slow for reasons you'll see. Five seconds. 5 more seconds. I just lose. So now it's Psychics. What I didn't mention before is that Psychic actually has a 20% chance to drop your special. So if you get like Psychic drop on its first Psychic, you actually I think have to either heal again or you could Horn Drill it and then set up your X speed on the next Venonat, because that one has Psybeam, which does less damage but can confuse you. Now I have to heal for Blaine at this point, because Blaine's lead is Arcanine. You have to, or sorry, not Arcanine, Ninetales, and you have to set up an X attack on it. But it has Flamethrower, which does about 70, and it's 1 in 4 to use it. Right, I think somewhere around there. It has 4 moves, but I don't know if you can turn 1 Super Potion like you can in Red. And if he would do that and I'm in kill range, I'm just dead. However, Flamethrower is basically what I don't want to see. Because if he crits, or worse, or not really worse, but if he crits, I die, obviously, but I can't play around that. Unless I want to use my full restore. And I don't. But if he burns, I have to switch out, basically. Full restore, and then, like, just play the rest of the fight without perfect attack. Because what happens in Gen 1 is full restores heal the status, but unless you're at full health, they don't heal your stats back. So my attack would be at 3/4 of what it should have been, basically. Because with the X attack and then with the 1/2 from burn, I just wouldn't do enough damage. What's kind of silly though is if you're at full health, it will restore your stats. So we're continuing Nidoking. There's a later menu where I have to teach Blizzard to Nidoking. So I can just Super Potion there. It's actually faster than trying to swap back up to... I don't even know what I would do there. Okay, so here you can encounter Raticates, or actually Rattatas as well. So only level 43, and Raticates come at level 43 and 46, and you can actually encounter a level 43 Rattata as well. I think on average you get one. And it's nowhere near like run ending if you don't, because even with 2 Rattatas, Raticates, I've actually saved time on the split, because my PBs was so bad because I messed up the menus atrociously. So here we Super Repel, and then Super Potion. Then hit a fast roll that I didn't actually think I would hit. And since we'd already used Thrasher the last time, that's the move that we ride over. And now it's time to continue. I don't know what I was doing there. I think that... Oh, I know what it was. I briefly considered that maybe I hadn't used my Super Potion. That would have actually caused me a cursor problem. Just gotta flip these switches, hope for no Eradicates. Actually, I get one right there, which was just like, oh man. But I mean, it's not a big deal because you can run from them. It just doesn't really matter. So now my cursor was set, and I didn't really remember that, so it took me a second. Because getting an encounter sets your cursor. So you do that. It's fine though. It doesn't. I've got my eyes on the prize, basically. This gym's gimmick is that it's like a Pokemon quiz as you're doing it. This is one of the, like, coming from Pokemon Red as a speedrunner, this is one of the biggest differences actually, like in it, other than like the route itself, is that in Red, you saw that those text boxes that it was doing in at the beginning. All it says in yellow is Pokemon quiz, test your skill. So it's so much shorter that like it's easy to miss a question because they're used to just being mashing at that point. It's actually pretty important how many text boxes these are. Which is nice because it's a 1, not 1, 1, not 1. Then it's not 1 and 1, so not really good, but you just gotta be smart about it. You can hit B to say no, so even though it looks like I'm saying yes to all these, 4 of the 6 answers are actually no. Nice bonk. So now here's the scary part. I mean, Flamethrower is pretty unfortunate to see, but what would be even arguably worse is Confuse Ray. Because then I'm confused. But I gotta set up an X attack because his Arcanine is level 54. But he flamethrowers, and now I'm kind of scared because, like I said before, crit or burn, I die. But that's fine. It has quick attack, but quick attack can't kill me at this health. It can come very close, but it can't kill me unless it crits. But now the rest of the fight's free, and what's nice is Koga, like I talked about badge boost earlier, gives you a flat 9/8 boost to my speed, even though he says defense, he gives you speed. And so you fight him and then Blaine, so you got that speed badge boost, and then because of your X attack, you also increase your speed, which lets you outspeed them. It's so cool. Can we believe that? Save 15 seconds even with Eradicate. Easy. You can dig out of this gym. Doesn't make much sense. I don't know why. Guess they just felt bad for the player for having to walk all the way back or something. I don't know. So we fight Erica partially because we just got Blizzard, and also because I don't think it matters with your Nidoking special and Blizzard, but Blaine actually gives you the special badge boost. Oh, also, Blaine using Flamethrower actually was kind of good overall, and we'll see why. So this Execute is, you need to hit a Blizzard, which is only 90%. And if you miss, I think it's guaranteed Hypnosis. And then you're just like stuck using your Poke Flute until it misses Hypnosis. So it hits me, which is unfortunate. But because of Red Bar and the sound effects, there's just no jingle for Poke Flute. So I'm saving, let's see. For each Hypnosis, I'm saving 5 seconds each. So it's gonna fail eventually. So I saved 10 seconds there from being in Red Bar. Thanks, Blaine. Eric is very straightforward. Even though Blizzard has that shake that we talked about, you Earthquake these because of the accuracy causes a problem. So even though I'm losing like 10 seconds here, I'd be losing 20 if I weren't in Red Bar. So now on to Giovanni. So now, like, this first fight, we would Earthquake if we had any left. But since you don't, you just, Blizzard. Even if you miss, it's stupidly unlikely to die. Remember, I died to this one time in a red race due to, I was out of Earthquakes because I hit an optional. But I got Blizzard miss and the Stomp crit, and I was very upset, but that's unlikely. So here, I have to use my Elixir. Because I missed a Blizzard, and I used 2 Blizzards on this fight, and I only have 1 left. So I heal as well, because I'm hoping that I won't take any damage to save a menu, so I don't have to heal again for Giovanni, because you need to be at least 128 for Giovanni, because of his lead Dugtrio. So what's nice here is Karate Chop is a high critical move, meaning that its critical rate, as opposed to the standard Pokemon critical rate of base speed over 512, it's his base speed over 64, which is 35. So he's 70% to critical, and if he criticaled, I would have to heal again. Because he didn't, I have good HP for Giovanni, and I can't die. Well, I can't die to non-crit. That's the best you can ask for. This fight went pretty well. So I don't need to heal again. You exit the gym and come back in. Because when you fought the black belt, his position comes down, but by leaving you can reset it. You could also take the spinny tiles to go around him, but even though that's way less steps, the spinny tiles in Gen 1 are so stupidly, unbelievably, I don't have enough superlatives for it. They're just so slow that that's slower by a significant margin. So you X speed here. I'm hoping for Fissure, and I get Fissure. So then I Earthquake and he dies. So this Dugtrio has good AI, like we talked about earlier. So he sees that I'm a poison type, and only goes for ground moves, but Giovanni can also go for a guard spec. His ground moves are Dig, Earthquake, and Fissure. Fissure can't hit me because I'm faster than it, which I didn't say before. One-hit KO moves only work if you're faster than the target Pokemon, or at least speed-tied. So because of the X speed, I'm faster. If he were to Dig, I'd have to X accuracy, and then I hope for no crit. If he Earthquakes, then I just attack him. Or sorry, then I just Earthquake myself. But Fissure's very nice because it's not scary, and now I don't have to play a risky strat on my what's it called? I think you heard if you got Dig. But I can play the next rival fight safer. Because if you were low, as an in-kill range of his Sandslash's Earthquake, which is 1 in 4 for him to use, then you have the Blizzard first, and which is only 90%. But since I'm out of Earthquake kill range, I can use X accuracy, and then I can guarantee that that my Blizzard's hit. It's also nice because setting up on Execute has a small chance to be a real pain, which has actually killed one of my runs before. Granted, I misplayed and could have continued, but I got very unlucky there. I'll explain why, because nothing really happens in this fight. So I get Slash here, which puts me at an unfortunate health. So you can pick up a Max Ether and then skip centering for Lorelei if you're at 96 or above, but after this fight I'll be at like 93. So just not quite enough. And that strat saves a few seconds. So you only X accuracy on this fight because of this Cloyster. It doesn't die to any move except for Horn Drill. And then you just Earthquake the rest of them. So what's kind of crazy to me is that even so late into the game, with a Pokemon as fast as Kadabra, you actually still outspeed it even though it's 3 levels greater than you, because it's still a Kadabra. Even though Kadabra's base speed is, let me check, I think it's around 110. Then you just Earthquake the rest, yeah. Where's Kadabra's base speed? Where's Kadabra in this app? There it is. Its base speed is 105, and Nidoking's is, I believe, 85. But you outspeed it because you've already used a Carbos, and you have a lot of stat XP, and because all NPC DVs in Gen 1 are as follows: 8, 9, 8, 8, 8. So everything is 8 except for attack, which is 9. But your Nidoking has 14 DV speed. This music is so good. I went down again. I thought it was on Pokedex. That time actually made sense because your cursor has to go to Pokemon. So now, before we get to one of the worst sections in all of Pokemon speedrunning, Yellow's Elite Four, we get to watch me push around a boulder for a little while. section's actually a little bit scary, because you can encounter Onyxes at level 49. It's, I think, about 1 and 2 to encounter one or something. But it's, I mean, what's kind of concerning for me right now is I'm on a potentially 157 with a good Elite Four, and I don't want to lose that. So I need Elite Four or I need a Victor Road to be very good, and if I get an Onyx, it could definitely die. But a problem with that is I only have one Full Restore remaining, so I have to pick up another one, and the only option aside from just buying them, which is very slow, is a hidden one, which is like I want to say about 5 seconds. So that's a guaranteed time loss basically. And PB got to skip center, so beating PB's Lorelei split is very, very difficult, even with no Onyxes. So I think now's a good time to talk about just like how bad Yellow's Elite Four is. I'll go into it a little bit more in depth when we get to each trainer, but Lorelei, 2 of her 3 moves that she can use do damage, and one of them is Bubble Beam, and if she uses that, it can speed fall. Also, crit from either of them just kills you. But if she gets Bubble Beam and it speed falls, then you have to use another turn. Then you have to use another turn going for an X speed, and if you X speed on the next turn, she's only 80% to go for rest, and if she doesn't go for rest, then you just die. What's kind of cool is in red, on turn 2, Lorelei's Dugong will always use rest. But in yellow, it's only 80% on turn 2. So you can't do the same setup like in red, where you swap your Pidgey in, it kills it, and then you swap in your Nidoking. It's just not worth it. It would also work with Charmander, come to think of it, because she could just Bubble Beam it. So see right here, at 52 we pick up the Elixir, or Full Restore. Why did I say Elixir? 57 we leave, so yeah, that's like 4 seconds we just lost. But I had to pick it up. You need two Full Restores for Elite Four. There's just no way around it. So now we deposit, because each Pokemon has about an 8-second cutscene in the Hall of Fame. So depositing, although it takes, like, I want to say around 10 seconds, don't deposit Nidoking. It's a net gain of about 14 seconds. So basically, you're hoping for rest on Lorelei. Bubble Beam's the worst, but she's pretty tame compared to some of the other Elite Four members, who can be very, very, very unfortunate. Especially since you're guaranteed to be out of kill range. So you get rest, which is very nice. Or, not you, I get rest. You don't get rest, I get rest. So the rest of the fight's free because you outspeed everything and you can just Horn Drill. So Lorelei has gone perfectly. But Lorelei is not the problem in Yellow's Elite Four. Also, I got no Onyxes, which I hadn't said, but that's pretty good. So now, time to restore some PP before Bruno. Should have just elixired at that point, to be honest. Would that have killed? No, I would have been fine. Probably. So there's one thing that Bruno can do that's annoying. His Onyx has Dig, and if he goes for it, it wastes like 6 seconds. And he goes for it, of course. So I just have to stall a move at that point. There's nothing else I can do. But you can Blizzard the Onyxes because it's only one extra text box being super effective instead of it's not very effective. 1-hit KO, which is what Hornsdra would be. But Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and Machamp all have to be Horn-Drilled. But now Agatha comes, and Agatha's mean. Her Gengar's moveset is Substitute, Confuse Ray, Mega Drain, and Lick. Let's see. Mega Drain is objectively the best thing that you can get. It's a little slow, because it goes like B had his energy drained, and it's not very effective, but it doesn't do that much, and it's not an extra turn. Lick is fine, but it can paralyze you. Substitute, just waste an extra turn, and Confuse Ray is probably the worst thing that she can do. Unless it misses, then it's very, very good. So the strat here for Agatha involves some badge boost, which is pretty cool, based on how you do it. So it starts out fine. So I get Lick, and I'm just praying for no Paralyze, because if it paralyzes, I have to use an X Speed, and then next special, instead of just an X special. But I level up here, and I haven't said this yet, but when you level up in a fight, your badge boosts, or your added badge boosts, are reset. So you level up here, then on Golbat, you X special. And I get Withdraw, which is pretty much perfect. Agatha has what's called Withdraw AI, which it lets her withdraw. The jugglers have it too, but you one-shot all the jugglers, and except his Hypno, which can't even withdraw because he doesn't have any other Pokemon at that point. But I hit that Blizzard, and so that's pretty much a perfect Agatha. Lick no Paralyze into Lick no Paralyze into what's it called? Withdraw is pretty much the best thing that you can ask for. If she withdraws turn 1, then that's really annoying, actually. I think you would just set up an X speed at that point and just hope that Golbat isn't too mean. So if Golbat doesn't withdraw, you're basically hoping for Toxic or Leech Life. Toxic's a little bit faster, but they're both equally safe. Once you're at like really low HP, because Leech Life only does about 20. So here I need a full restore. And Elixir. So this fight is absolutely atrocious. His Gyarados has Hydro Pump, and because of his smart AI, he only goes for Hydro Pump. And if he critical hits, you're dead. His next Pokemon is a Dragonair. You have to set up an X attack on. He has Hyper Beam and Slam. Slam is pretty much good unless you're very, very low from Gyarados, in which case Crit can kill you. And Hyper Beam can kill you at some healths, and a Crit will always kill you unless you're, like, really, really high. Or, like, basically just got Hydro Miss. Pretty much the only way that you can win. So I get a pretty high roll from Hydro Pump here. And so I make a somewhat questionable play that I question later. But in the moment, I mean, it made sense, but I misplayed this. So I was not interested in dying to Hyper Beam, which is a fine thing to not be interested in. But I should have full restored here. Because then if I got Hyper Beam, I could just Super Potion for Champion. I got Miss, so I think about it too long. But I have to X attack, and then I get Hyper Beam again, which puts me into red bar. Just praying for no crit at this point. See, I saw that it only did 44 from there, which still would have killed me at 43, but I thought about why it did so little. Because I got the extra badge boost for my X attack, my defense increased. It usually does around 50. So healing was probably the right play, but that's not how I should have healed. Because, I mean, Because I should have just been safe for, I should have played it safe so I wouldn't have died to Hyper Beam Critical either, if I'm going to heal anyway. Also, Dragonite, if you miss, it has Blizzard, and that's the only move it can go for because of his smart AI. And so, if you miss, you're 90% to be dead. And so this last fight is also terrible. So his first Pokemon is Sandslash, which you had to give a turn to set up. And if the only move it can go for is Earthquake. If it criticals, you die. Then you have to use Blizzard. If you miss, you die. Blizzard is also a range. On my special, it's, I believe, about a little under 90%. If you miss the range, you die. After that, it's fine. He has an Executor that can stall you some turns, but that's not going to kill your run, because it can't kill your run. It can only waste time. So you're just praying this whole fight that it, like, I lost 2 champ fights and a Lance fight before I actually won one. Because it's just such a terrible fight. So you're just hoping, okay, no crit, no crit. Just hope for 3 things to fight. Okay, so you get no crit. I hit the Blizzard. Now I'm just like, hit this range, 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 then hit the range. And I'm like, wow, I actually completed a decent yellow run. Technically, one more thing can kill your run. If you were to Gen 1 miss this Alakazam, and then it didn't use Kinesis, which is 2 and 3, to not use Kinesis, you would then, die. This Executor can only go for Hypnosis and Leech Seed. You want Leech Seed because Hypnosis stalls a turn. Hypnosis Fail is good as well. But Leech Seed is good. So no, I'm guaranteed to be through. Felt so good to finally complete a yellow run. It's a pretty decent time too. So like if I didn't heal Lance and just played around being able to die to Hyper Beam, then I could have maybe gotten a 157. But it's probably would have just been a low 158. I don't even care, man. Okay, also everyone needs to know that this is a playback of a run that I already did. I'm just putting commentary on it. Thanks for the congrats, though, Ender. So now it's just mash as hard as you possibly can to celebrate that you've beaten the stupidest fight in the game. And maybe even in all of PSR. Yellow Lance into Yellow Champion is just it's such a sad combination. You know, no, I thought it kind of was too, but then one person didn't know, and I just went, well, okay. So this is a gold split because my PB got 2 Hypnosises. Da-na-na-na. 154 IGT. I actually forgot the IGT in this game. It's incredibly inaccurate, but 154 seems to make sense. So that might be a 158.12. Not that I care enough, but it definitely could be. And thus, we completed the yellow run. Finally. Alrighty.